Hey everyone, it's Mikey with San Francisco Association of Realtors in the MLS department. And I have another quick video today going over how to create contacts and prospects, or auto prospecting, sometimes also called a drip campaign in the industry. So the first way to start that process is you're going to go to contacts and then contacts prospects. And you'll see I've already created myself here a while back, but for the purposes of demonstration, I'm actually going to go ahead and start with a new contact. So we're going to say create new contact, and I'm just going to put in some fake information. Well, that's my real name, but let's go to groups. Now, just like everything in the MLS, anytime you see a red lettering, that means it's a required field, which means it has to be filled out for you to actually use the function of whatever it is that you're using. So in this case, I have to put in a contact name, I have to put in groups, I have to put in an email. So in this case, a lot of times people ask what groups means, and it actually is just a way to literally just group your contacts. So in this case, if I click over here, you'll see that I have a few options. I have clients, vendors, personal, and other. And so that's just however you want to designate those things. It's just a way that you can group clients. And so in this case, I'll just pretend that this is a client. So I'll choose client and say, okay. And then I'll just say, let's see. We'll just say MLS at sfrealtors.com. And so I put literally all I need is the contact name, group, email. Now, if you want to put in CC, alternate email, web page, any of that information, you can always put that in there. Primary phone, secondary phone, all of that information. Again, none of it is required because none of these are red. So now that I've set that up, now I want to actually start that auto prospecting. So what I want to do is click here where it says auto prospecting, and this new auto prospecting scheduler pops up. And basically what this is asking is, when do you want to start the auto prospecting? When do you want it to end? And how frequent do you want these emails to come out? So in this case, it says it auto generates some of these dates. So it's today, and then it's going to say from a year from now. So that's auto generated. Now, if I want to change them, I can of course click here. And if I want a shorter duration or a longer duration, you can just put in there. I'll leave that a year is fine. Daily, as soon as ASAP, daily, weekly, and monthly. Well, what does ASAP mean? Well, so in the case of daily, the way that auto prospecting works is you have a certain criteria that you're going to enter in. And anytime a listing comes that matches that criteria, it's going to be sort of shoved into this auto prospecting and saved for your client. Now, whether it is delivered daily or ASAP, the difference between that is the frequency of emails that your client is going to get. So daily would mean at the end of or the beginning of the day, your client will get a whole bunch of listings of anything that meets that criteria since last they got the update. So let's just say I said, let's do it at 5 o'clock. When they're coming home, they can take a look at their new updates. So daily would be at 5. Everything that's matched that criteria that day will be sent to them. ASAP would mean as soon as the listing is entered into the MLS, your client is going to get a notification. So there are pros and cons to both. Sometimes people like getting that information immediately. Sometimes people would rather it be condensed into a daily email. It really comes down to what you want and what your client wants. So in this case, I'm just going to say daily, and I'm going to say every day at, I'll say 5 p.m. So at 5 p.m. every day, I'm going to get an email of all of the things that match my criteria that I'm going to set up here in a moment. So I'm going to say save. My change has been saved. Perfect. So now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to scroll down here into where it says Client Portal. We're going to click that. And Client Portal there are two sort of ways that you can receive updates. You can get an email, or you can do the Client Portal. Now, I'll do another video specifically on the Client Portal, but why I say it's important here is that some client portals allow your client to do a lot more searching on their own. It's not like extensive searching, but it allows them to do, sort of interactive things like I like this property versus I don't like this property. And it lets them sort of give you feedback about things that are being sent to them through the auto prospecting. And they can flag things and say, I'm really interested in this, or I really don't like this, take this out. I don't like this criteria at all. So that, I would say, always click on the portal, the client portal there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say save at the top. So now we've said we've saved. Now we need to set up our search. So in this case, the search type, I'm just going to say it's a standard, and I'm going to say, we're going to say test. Say submit. And now I've named this search that I've set up for this client test. And now I'm going to take whatever criteria that they want for their search and put it into this standard search. So let's just say, for example, I'm interested in residential properties, single family homes in area, let's just say District 4, and let's do Forest Hill. Say okay. So it looks like currently on the MLS, there are 2 listings that match that criteria. Now, if I wanted to, I could go down here and I could get really crunchy in the details, and I could say a price. I could say, if I want a total bathroom, bedroom, whatever. I can get really crunchy in the details. For in this case, I'm just going to say any residential property that's a single family home in District 4, Subdistrict C, and I'm going to say search. Now, it's going to show no listings. So I wonder why that is. Let's go back and see why that is. All right. So as you can see, I'm back here at and again, by the way, you can always go to your contacts, prospects. Let's just do that so you can see contacts, prospects, and click on clients. Looks like Mikey, this is me. And here's that test. Okay, perfect. So we're back here. Now, if I ever want to look at the criteria, I can say view criteria, and it's going to show exactly what I have here. So basically what I just inputted. And then if I ever want to revise the criteria, I can say revise criteria, and it will give me the option to revise criteria. Now, I'm not going to get into why when I searched just now and it showed nothing on the MLS, and I think it's probably because some of my criteria didn't match up. So when I put in my criteria, it said there were 2, but actually those 2 listings, their property types, not the property types, but the property status was probably different. But I don't want to get too lost on the weeds with that specific, but what I do want to show you is that is how you would set up your auto prospecting. Now, in theory, anything that comes to, and I say in theory because there's a few factors, but in theory, from this point forward, this email will be sent daily, a list at 5:00 p.m., a list of anything that comes to market that has this criteria. So single family residence in the subdistrict Forest Hill, in that district, subdistrict. So that will be sent. Now, if for whatever reason I want to add another search, let's say didn't like that district and subdistrict, wanted to do something else, I can always just click here where it says add search, and that's going to allow me to add another search. And you can see it looks just like that other input. So let's just, for example, go through this again. So I'm going to say test 2. I'm going to say submit, and I'm going to say residential, single family residence. And this time I'm actually going to choose District 6. All of this is pretty random. And Subdistrict A. Okay, well, there's 0 listings there, but that's fine. I want to show active, and we'll just leave it at that. So I'll go ahead and say search. Now I know anytime that information, again, there's no listings found, obviously, because it just said 0, but that's okay. We can always go back to contact prospects, go to Mikey, scroll down, and you can see here test 2 has been added. Now, if whatever reason, let's just say they decided they want to stick with the criteria shown in test 2, you can unclick this one here and turn that off and save it at the top. And now they'll only receive the properties from test 2, not from regular test. If you want, let's just say, they decided they're not looking anymore. This lead has become a cold lead. They're not looking for properties anymore. They actually don't want to be emailed anything anymore. You can always just unclick auto prospecting, and it will no longer send them emails. Now, you also have to unclick client portal and then just say save at the top. I'll show you one other thing. There's always like multiple ways of doing things on the MLS. As you can see from what I just did, I created 2 search criteria. But you can also, if I just go to standard and say residential, single family residence, let's just pick something else, District 10, and let's say Outer Mission, say okay. Now, there's 4 listings here, great. Now, if I go and say prospecting here, and I click on prospecting, I can actually save this to an existing prospect. So if I click here, you can see Mikey. I know it's confusing because I have Mike, and I've done this a couple of times. But in this case, Mikey was the one that I was using. If I just say click here, this is going to actually add whatever I've just entered, this search criteria, listing, single family residence, area, District 10, Subdistrict D. If I just say add here, it will add to my client, me, and I'll just say test 3, say submit. And so if you go back into contacts, prospects, Mikey, you'll see that it was added here. So that's another way of doing that. Again, there's always multiple ways of doing things on the MLS, but I just wanted to show you, you don't have to necessarily be in the contacts prospects area to add another search criteria. You can add it from, if you're just doing a random search. Anyway, so that is the contacts prospects in a nutshell. If you do have any other questions, there are also under help. If you go to help and then learning center, there are even more videos on prospecting and auto prospecting. There's actually a lot of great videos here, but you'll see here where it says contacts and prospects. Basically, they're going over a lot of what I've already gone over, but a little bit more concise. There's also showing, how to add them from different searches. So if you're doing a map search or a radius search, managing and all that other stuff you can find here. So that's, again, contacts and prospects in a nutshell. And if those videos don't help, and if the video I just didn't help and you still need help, you can always contact us directly at MLS at sfrealtors.com, and we'd love to help you out. Again, this is Mikey with the MLS department. I hope you have a wonderful day.